G'day, everyone. Welcome back to another Toon podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best podcast for all things Newcastle United. Tonight, I got Mark on the line. Mark, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, doing really well. Not enjoying a public holiday like certain people down in Victoria, apparently. But yeah, can't be complaining too much. We'll get ours later in the year.
Yeah, we are the official public holiday capital of not just Australia, I think the world. I don't know anyone else who has as many public holidays as we do in Victoria, and it's a great place to live, and that's just another reason why. It's a good place to live because you get lots of days off. So tonight we'll touch on a bit of transfer news that's been kicking around. There's been a bit of development in our goalkeeper situation, and a few outgoings with Minteh. Seems to be the lamb that we've been thinking about for the last kind of 6 months. So we'll sort of take a bit of a dive into that. And since we last were in your ear holes, the new kit's been launched. The video was tremendous, and we'll touch on that and maybe a little bit of insider news about what the third kit might entail. So hang around for that. But we'll kick off with, I guess, the news of the day. Mark broke overnight, I think, for us, or was there when I woke up this morning. So we'll just say overnight at some time. It seems that Fabrizio Romano has reported that the club and James Trafford have agreed to personal terms, which is always good. Depending on who you believe, there seems to be a £15 million bid that was placed. Don't think that's going to be enough. But I know you and Craig spoke last week about the goalkeeper situation, and it seemed like the long guy with M at the start of his name was the one. I'm not going to get
Mamardashvilli. Yeah,
I'm not going to get drawn into trying to say it. But it seems like they've gone for the cheaper and a younger option. How do you feel about the whole goalkeeper situation? There's been a bit of talk on social media.
Yeah, I'm
About
not
it all.
I don't know how you can agree a deal with a player, the terms of a deal, without actually having a bid successfully registered. That all just seems very weird in
Yeah, it
today's
does.
football. Tapping
Yeah.
up apparently isn't a thing. Look, I know there's been a lot of hullabaloo on social media, and Mamardashvilli is the sexy name that everybody wants, and he's a great shot stopper. But if you dive into it a little bit more beyond just his highlight reel, there's definite issues with his ball playing at his feet capabilities, I guess you would say. Which isn't kind of where we want to be, given the issues that we've had with Dubravka not coming out, and we need that sweeper keeper to realistically play the way that we need to play. James Trafford, not the sexy name that everyone wants to hear, maybe, but a lot of undue criticism, I think. But to me, he's a young player that has had pretty good reviews, and if we'd signed him on the back of the under-21 Euros, where he was the hero in the final, everyone would be raving about it, saying, "Oh yeah, we've got the player of the future, England's future number one, whatever." But because he's had like a bad season behind pretty much one of the leakiest defenses in the league, he's like, they were second in terms of the most shots conceded in the Premier League last season. The poor kid's 21, facing that sort of a barrage. It's like, give him a little bit of a break. And if we're going to go on YouTube highlight reels, his is pretty impressive as well. So give him a bit of a benefit of the doubt. And I will stand by this. He was responsible for Burnley's only 2 clean sheets last season, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, I think I did read that somewhere today when I was researching really chaotically for this pod this afternoon. So, I guess the thing that kind of resonated with me the most was probably us. We've made a distinct choice to not spend money on competition for Nick Pope, and if the reports were correct that Mamardashvilli was about going to be £40 million or somewhere around that region as well. So we've gone for the cheaper option, and then what that says to me is they're going to use that money in a position more of need, which they're happy with Nick Pope, and Mamardashvilli might be a bit of an upgrade, but I think we'll get more of an upgrade in perhaps that right winger role that I think is going to
Yeah,
be the kind of marquee player, and they've decided that they're going to use most of the budget on that position. And it was kind of funny, like reading comments today on like social media and things like that, and people are kind of questioning the whole: are they really an FFP if they're going to spend 20 million on a 21-year-old goalkeeper and things like that? And you're like, well, we you have to buy players. Like, it's the reality. Like, we're going to lose Loris Karius. His contract's up, and
yeah,
he's going to move back to, I think, Spain or Italy, wherever his missus is. And I don't think Martin Dubravka is going to be sticking around here next
no,
season as well for a number two. I think he wants to try and finish his career as a number one and be playing every week, which he's not going to do here when Nick Pope's fit. So the club's put their faith in Nick Pope, and they've kind of just, right, well, we'll ride him out for another 2 or 3 years, and then hopefully by that time there'll be a bit of a transition, and James Trafford will be in a position to take over the number one role. So it does make sense when you actually just scratch. You don't even have to dig; you just have to scratch the surface
yeah.
a little bit, and you're like, oh, yeah, I understand their thinking and their philosophies and all that sort of stuff. And
Well,
true to
it makes a lot of sense given if you buy someone another keeper in for 40 million, they've got to come in as your number one keeper.
yeah,
And so then Nick Pope, is he going to be happy playing number two? And do you end up in a situation like we were when we got Nick Pope in, where Dubravka threw the toys out and he wanted to go away on loan somewhere? And then you lose Nick Pope anyway, and you've still got to go and buy a Trafford type that sits behind
yeah,
Mamardashvilli instead. So for me, it's like it makes a lot of sense. I get the bit of trepidation over Nick Pope's fitness because, you know, if we're realistic, you know, he's popped his shoulder out. It's the second time it's happened to him. There's a chance that maybe it's weak. Maybe he's a little bit reluctant to make those dives anymore. I can't see it personally, but if you think about all of that, then the what ifs and coulda, shoulda, wouldas, then, you know, you're never going to sign anyone, or you're going to blow all your money on a new keeper, and then everyone's complaining that we haven't bought a new right winger. But the other thing for me is, you know, Trafford's probably good enough. He's probably an upgrade on Dubravka just in terms of the way we play, let
yeah,
alone, you know, he's a
definitely.
decent shot stopper.
We'll
He's
have a
faced
look
a
at the stats
yeah,
on this in a minute. Yeah, yeah. And I think once we kind of show everyone this, it'll probably make more sense to everyone why they've kind of chosen this route.
yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's like, you know, you look at the stats and that's what we've got to go on because that's what the club are making the decisions on. And we know that Eddie Howe and his backroom team and the rest of the club, they're very data driven now. So they're not making sort of snap decisions based on a sexy name. And, you know, I joked with someone on social media today where it's like, well, if he was Jemaski Tredovsky or something, Trafford
Trafford.
Traffordsky, you know, like everyone would be going, "Oh yeah, no, he's going to be a great player for us. What a bargain!" You know, let's just give the kid a chance. So, you know, everyone was bagging Gordon out when we first bought him, and now look,
Yeah, definitely. It makes no sense. And true to form, we've kind of started gnawing away at a relegated carcass again, with like we did with Nick Pope and then Harvey Barnes last summer as well. So does seem to be our market
yeah,
is a rotten carcass of a relegated club who kind of have to sell, which is fine by me because people
yeah,
did it to us when we went down. So I've got no issue with it at all. So just on the stats that we just spoke about, so I found this today on FB Ref is the website. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can kind of see this. For those who are listening, there's a couple of really, so the stats first, the sort of top half of it is more about goals against and clean sheet percentage and things like that, which, like we spoke about earlier, James Trafford's, given his season at Burnley's not going to be that high. So this is for the last 365 days, so essentially the last season. The stuff I really want to compare is the touches and the cross stop percentages and the defensive actions outside the penalty area, which is massive. And that kind of will give you a bit of an indication of how we play and why Martin Dubravka isn't that guy to play how we want to play. So we know that Nick Pope does command his area. He does like to come out as a sweeper keeper, and Martin Dubravka's had his critics, and rightfully so, for the whole season about having concrete boots and being stuck in the sit-sharp box on multiple occasions. So, yeah, as you can see there, his crosses stopped is around the 6.6% per 90, and the defensive actions are 0.95 per 90 as well. And when we look at James Trafford, they're significantly better. It's 7.2% of crosses stopped and 1.5 per 90 of defensive actions outside the penalty area, which puts him sort of right up in the high percentile of everything. So, and his average distance of actions is significantly higher than Martin Dubravka. His touches is way higher than Martin Dubravka. So it clearly suits the way that we want to play, and the way that Nick Pope kind of plays and things like that. And I think he'd be, like you said earlier, Mark, I think he's going to be a much better fit for our team and the way we play compared to what Martin Dubravka did. And he's going to have better defenders in front of him than what happened at Burnley as well. So I think like I said, when you kind of look at it like this, you kind of go, I can understand the whole mentality around this now.
The whole sweeper keeper is such an important factor for us. I mean, the difference in how we played and the space that was created when Pope was out, and because Dubravka doesn't come off his line, it left so many holes in between that defense and the midfield, because the defenders, they were getting caught in behind because Dubravka wasn't coming out. So then the defense sat deep, and then it created huge holes between the midfield and the defense for somebody to sit in. And I keep seeing everybody asking about a number 6, a defensive holding midfielder, and I don't think we need a holding midfielder if we have that sweeper keeper, because the defense will push up, it shuts that space down, and it then gives sort of Bruno, possibly Joe Linton, all of these sorts of players, Tonali when he comes back, or a little bit more license to kind of push forward, but they're getting the ball higher up the pitch for them to make a difference as well. So just having that style of keeper, I think, is more vital than having the finished product right now, even if he is called into action.
Yeah, that's right. And just sort of covering off what you said as well with that, and it was a major problem for the season, the gap between the midfield and the defenders and things like that. But then on the occasions when the defenders did push up and try and close that gap, because Martin Dubravka was really reluctant to leave his box, how many times did we see Dan Burn and we kept lamenting, the quick wingers, our kryptonite, like we can't stop them yet, because we didn't have that cover, because Martin Dubravka was so bad. And we had Ryan Scott on for the United series, who gave us some really good insights into the mentality of a goalkeeper, who, for those of you who haven't watched it, absolutely go back and watch it. It's a really, really good listen. But he's a professional keeper here in Australia, and he mentioned that it's just something that you kind of do or you don't. You can't really train it. Like, you either have the confidence to come out and play like that, or you don't, and you're more of a stay-at-home shot stopper. Yeah. And he was saying he's more of a sweeper keeper, but he spent a lot of his junior days as an outfield player, so he does feel comfortable on the ball, and he kind of feels confident outside his box. Whereas I dare say someone like Martin Dubravka spent his whole life as a goalkeeper and a shot stopper, and he doesn't have that confidence to come out and things like that. So obviously,
it's probably worthwhile mentioning that I'm not convinced that Mamardashvilli is any better at coming out and being that sweeper keeper role either. And so that's again something that nobody's really giving a lot of credence to, but I think is vitally important.
Yeah, absolutely. So he does fit that profile as well of young, and you guys have mentioned, and I think the club has mentioned this as well, to buy players young before they hit their peak, to try and save a bit of money, and if the opportunity comes to play, if not, we can still sell them in their prime and make a lot higher fee than what we paid for them. So that's the latest with James Trafford. Hopefully, I don't know if that'll be done this month, unfortunately. I'm not sure how that all works with FFP, if they can actually do a deal now and then doesn't actually get ratified until July, the new financial year and everything. I'm not sure how all that plays out. So this one might drag on for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but all signs are that it will get done at some stage. And there might be a bit more haggling because I think there may be a 20% sell-on clause to Man City as well. So that there might be a little bit of negotiating around that and prices because Burnley kind of want to get as much as they can with that 20% sell-on clause in mind. So we'll go from incomings to outgoings, Mark. Now, for the last probably since January, I reckon, and when we didn't make a signing, and there was rumours that Kieran Trippier was going to be sold, but it didn't materialise, and Miggy Almiron and Callum Wilson kind of declined to be sold to various places. And we've sort of spent the back end of the season saying we do need to get rid of these players. One, are they kind of dead wood and they're not up to it, but as well to generate that financial sort of money to come in and that can help us kickstart. Now, it's sort of come up in the last 4 or 5 days that Yankuba Minteh could have been the one. I think Luke Edwards reported that they've been inundated with offers and they might have to reluctantly, wink, wink, sell. Now, some of the prices mentioned have been around 40 million, which is absolutely nuts. When you think about it, 19-year-old, where are you on this? Are you a seller or are you a keeper?
As much as I think he's got some talent there, I think given it's difficult when all you get to see is the highlight reel of the plus points of him, and what he's done right. And he scored some goals and he looks lightning fast, but you start listening to some of the Feyenoord fans, and I think we had a Feyenoord fan on the pod when he was getting all of the hype. It was the general consensus is I think he's still positionally weak, naive maybe, and so how many times have we seen players excel in the Dutch league? There's a certain fidget spinner at Man United that cost them 90 million quid or whatever it was that literally couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo's ass or whatever.
Yeah.
We've seen it ourselves. I mean, we had De Jong. He couldn't score to save his life. It's no guarantee that someone in the Dutch league is going to hit the Premier League and hit the ground running. To make that amount of profit so soon after buying him on the basis of one decent season in the Dutch league, I'm very, very tempted to say yes, go for it, sell him if that then pays for a whirlwind transfer market summer. What I will say though is this is the ludicrous situation we find ourselves in with financial fair play, in that we can sell a player to then buy an older, more established player, a better player that's more expensive and be better off with financial fair play. That's how stupid this whole situation is. It just makes no sense. Personally, look, I would like us. We're not at the stage where we've got luxury players to just sell left, right, and center, to sell really good emerging talent. I'd much prefer us to sell a Sean Longstaff or something who, if everything's sort of as it should be this coming season, should be quite a way down the pecking order in that midfield unit. So, and we don't have the games, we don't have Europe. So, look, I'd like us to sell those sorts of players first, but 40 million for a 19-year-old untested in the Premier League based on one season in the Dutch league, it's going to be hard to turn that sort of money down.
Yeah, I'm all for it, and I know, look, he could be anything. Like, who knows what the next 10 years is going to turn out for his career. But for us in the stage that we're at, I think we need to do it. And like you said, it makes 0 sense. And I said this in our group chat. It makes 0 sense. Like, hey, you need to sell a player so you can buy someone more expensive to comply with the profit and sustainability rules is absolutely nuts. Like, it makes 0 sense at all. So, and there's been a lot of people, and it's always funny, like when these things pop up and you kind of trawl through the comments and things like that, and everyone's like, no, we need to keep him. We've got to sell Miggy instead. Like, we're not getting 40 million for Miguel Almiron. We're probably not going to get 40 million if you sold Almiron, Wilson, and Dubravka and Target, for example, and Longstaff. You probably wouldn't get that combined for all of them. And I think this is going to be an easy out for us. He's our most probably profitable player that we can sell, given it's not actually a loss in the squad. Like, he's never played
No,
for us, so it's
no,
not someone we need to replace because we've never had him in the first place. And if selling someone like that can maybe replace that right winger, like you said, it just seems like a no-brainer to me. And hopefully we get a decent fee for him, and we are like a Man City where we can put in that either buyback clause or a sell-on
yeah,
clause or whatever all these clauses are to maybe safeguard ourselves as well in case he does turn out really good. We do have an option to try and bring him back and things like that. And also sort of thinking about this over the last few days once the news broke and stuff like that. So we can sell him. I'm more than happy to sell Matt Target. I think forget his injury history. We've kind of, I think, got enough players to cover there at left back too. Miguel Almiron's the obvious one that we need to sell, that we can play Jacob Murphy there as a backup if needed as well. I think Anthony Gordon can play on the right, and we get a really top quality right winger. And I've been hopping on and off this probably for the last 6 months with Callum Wilson. I think I've said on this pod, I'm pretty sure that I've said that we need to sell him, but I've actually flipped back again and say I think we should keep him. The money that, unless it's stupid Saudi money, then obviously yeah. But the fact that his record as a goal scorer in this league is really, really good, and we need to bring another striker in. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So I'm not, and we need that striker to be Isak's backup. Okay, Wilson, when fit, is a luxury. When he's injured, he won't be a liability because we'll have that cover anyway.
We need that cover. Yeah,
100%
agree with that.
Yeah, so I've kind of, the money that we're going to get for him and the money that it's going to cost to replace him, it's probably, like, I think you probably leave for nothing in 12 months anyway. But just for where we are now, I don't know if it makes all that sense to.
No. I mean, his wages, like, I think you'll be struggling to get a team to give us enough money, as you said, unless it's like one of the Saudi teams and he's willing to go over there for a big last payday.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced he would. I think he still sees himself as a top class Premier League striker, and on
when
his
he's fit,
day he is. When he's fit, he is. This is the thing.
It's not sugarcoated. He is. He's great.
Yeah, but we can't go into this coming season with him as a backup to Isak, and then if he's injured for half the season again, which he seems to be every year, then all the pressure's on Isak, and then he gets injured because his workload's too high. So for me, I think definitely a young striker to sit behind Isak in the pecking order, maybe someone who can kind of play that number 8 role, or an out-and-out striker. I don't know who that's going to be, though. That's the problem.
We don't know. Well, let's
there's so much speculation out there, but
there's one bloke who I reckon would know, and that would be that Sanjay is on Twitter. He knows everyone, and so if he had 4 or 5 options, I'd be like, yep, pick one of them, because he kind of knows what he's talking about. But we've got no idea. Well, let's not pretend. And like you said earlier, mate, the club's got enough runs on the board that whatever they choose, they've got our full judgment. Because I still don't think we've missed on a transfer yet. Now, people might say Matt Target, but I'd argue he was he done really well when he came in. He was fantastic, and he was a 7 out of 10 every week.
But even when he came back off injury, this season gone, he started to look like he was playing well, and then did his hammy. So
he's a 7 out of 10 every week.
Yeah,
what you're going to get.
I think he's a solid player. He's just had shit luck with injuries with us. That's all.
Yeah. We'll move on. We'll finish off. Mark, I was probably the middle of last week, just after you and Craig recorded. I actually wrote to one of my mates. Well, I don't know. He'd probably argue we're not mates, but a person that I know who's a Newcastle fan as well. And I said to him, have you ever seen a kit released without being unveiled? And because I think it was due to come out the Friday, or was it the 7th? I think it might have been the 7th of June. And we went to bed the night before and there was nothing. And I'd never seen anything like this before. And then when we woke up, oh my God, it could have been the best video or ad I've ever seen in my life. And the more you watched it, the more you picked up. Like, everything was in it
Little
for a
Easter eggs.
reason.
Yeah.
Like, it was nuts. It was like when you watched, like, a movie, like, I don't know if you remember The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis, and then,
Yeah.
like, spoiler alert, like, if you haven't watched it, he's a dead person, then you didn't realize it till the end, and then you go back and you're watching it and you're like, "Oh," and you just all this stuff you're picking up on the way through, and you're like, "Oh my god." That was that in a minute and a half video. Like, it was crazy, and then the kit was, like, didn't really move the needle for me that much. It Having seen it quite a few times now, it's grown on me very much in the last kind of 48 hours, but the video, Mark, oh my god.
Yeah. I think with, like, if you add to that the whole Sela presentation on the quayside onto
Oh,
the old Baltic flour mill,
we're
um,
easily pleased, aren't we?
just kicking goals, this is the thing. It's like we've had none of this in 14 years of Ashley, and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden we've got owners that like want to push the club. We've got sponsors and club shirt makers, and everyone's just seemingly like caught up in the atmosphere of really selling the club and pushing the history of the club. And as fans, it's like, yeah, I'm going to lap that up every single day of the week.
Like, look, we said to some of the club staff that we were lucky enough to mingle with a couple of weeks ago when the club come down, and we're still talking about it because it was awesome. But
Yeah.
we like the fan thing we went to, like, we got a pen and a little wristband that was a Newcastle wristband. Imagine, like, the yellow Livestrong ones that every
Mm.
Tom, Dick, and Harry. It was just one of them, and we were chuffed. Like,
I think Craig's still got his on. He's going to have to be like pried off him.
well, he has to. Someone stole his pen. So I think he looked at me. He goes, "Have you got me pen?" I said, "No, I've got my pen." He's like, "Someone thumped me pen." And I'm like, "Oh no!" I felt that sorry for him that someone had taken it off the table. But we said to him, like, "This probably cost you like $2,
Yeah.
and it means the world to us. Like, it's just
Yeah.
the little things, like a
Just
video."
some link to the club. That's all it
Yeah,
is.
and
And it's
and
just,
like the light display, even the drone display and all that. Like,
yeah.
these are just free things that are awesome, and they mean so much to the fan. Like, even us watching it on YouTube on the other side of the world, we were like, "Oh my god, like, this is awesome." And it's just like you said, it's been 14 years of not one little smidgen of anything like that. It was just a run-down, derelict club, and
Mm.
then now, like, it just shows how easy things can be. Like, we get excited by a video and a bloody light show on a flower building. Like, it's really not that hard to keep
No.
fans sort of happy and engaged and everything like that. But just like, even Amiobi, right,
On
like,
his
eating the
bike.
apple
Yeah.
on the bike, and Isaac walking his dog, like, they're just these little nuggets of gold, like you said, that are
But
just
it's things that have stuck
everywhere.
with the fans, and it's really
Yeah,
pleasing to know that the social media manager of Newcastle, or the marketing people,
they
it's
look.
not going unnoticed that the fans
No.
have really picked up on this. Let's use it, and
Yeah,
it's really, really good. It's clever marketing, but it's just
yeah,
it's such a good feeling as fans to. It's that little sense of belonging, that this is our club, that this is sort of like this is what we're part of type thing. And oh yeah, we've seen all of these on the internet, so oh
yeah,
yeah, no, isn't that great? And images of Ket Spire belting the crap out of the advertising
yeah,
boards, and it was just fantastic. Like, it's what you want as fans, just to have that kind of nostalgia, and the feedback, and that sense of belonging.
yeah. And the
Yeah,
words
absolutely fantastic.
spoken by Alan Shearer were, like,
Yeah.
literally perfect. And then I can't remember her name, I should have written this down, but the young lady, sort of version of the Bladen Races,
Mm.
was a haunting version, but it was awesome. It just fitted that video, like, perfect with
Yeah.
it sort of cut from the crowd and then Shearer, and then you can kinda hear, like, it was just like I said, it was perfect. Like, I've never seen an ad. It's probably the best ad I've ever seen. Like, it gave me goosebumps, and it gave me goosebumps multiple times. It wasn't just the first time I watched it. I kept watching it. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is awesome." So, the home kit's out. Still don't have any update on the away kit. If the leaks are to be believed, I think it's gonna be the maroon and blue horizontal stripes by the
Yeah.
look of it as well. But I can exclusively reveal here on the Toon Under podcast, Mark, that the third kit will actually have the trefoil Adidas logo, the
Ah,
retro flower logo. It will be on the third kit as the logo.
very
So
nice.
there's an exclusive for our viewers or listeners as well. Not I was sworn to secrecy about the colors and things like that. All I was allowed to say that it will have the old originals Adidas logo on it. So not sure when that'll be out. There is the training kit, the
Mm.
maroon training kit's out. I think it's the coaches leisure wear or training wear is the
The
white
white
jacket.
shirt, yeah, that looked very, very nice.
Dimmy's already loaded up and brought that. Unfortunately, my kids are of an age where I cannot wear white anymore, so I will not be buying all my clothes need to be dark now because they just get dirty and they come up to you and white doesn't work anymore and there's no amount of stain remover that can fix it. So I will not be loading up and spending that kind of money on a white. I will,
That's fair.
however, be getting I think it was a black kind of the retro hoodie that they've released with the white and was it green, I think maybe
Yeah,
on the
sort of
sleeves and
tealy
things like
green,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, that jumper looks elite. So I think that'll be released in I think 3 or 4 months' time. I think the kind of retro range is gonna be released a bit closer to Christmas once everyone's brought their home kits and everything like
Yeah,
that, and it'll just be a drip feed all season of gear from Adidas, which is perfect marketing, and I think the club's gonna do that really well and make sure once everyone's paid off their afterpays, and I think it might
yeah.
be Klarna in the
I will
UK.
say credit to Adidas and the club for the donation to the charity. They every
Yeah, it
kit
was a
that was
5 quid
five
from
five
every home
quid or
kit.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So it's just little things like that. It's
to
just
the
kicking
foundation,
goals
yeah.
every time at the moment. It's
Was
great.
that just from the club shop, or is that from,
I
JD
thought it
as
was from
well?
any of their official sort of sales partners. So
Yeah, yeah, so did
maybe it's
JD.
from the Adidas website, maybe
Yeah,
it's from
yeah.
JD as
The
well.
light
I
how was
don't
the
know, but
lines on Friday
it was
morning? Oh
crazy,
my
wasn't it? Yeah, like around the
god.
block.
Yeah.
I think they were giving them away for free.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it I don't know, I didn't see any, I'm not sure if you did, but I didn't really see any complaints about
No,
either lack of stock or, like, even the online stuff, like, the website seemed to I didn't never heard anything about the website was
yeah.
crashing or anything like that for people. I think Craig jumped on and grabbed his shirt, and he never had
Within
a
like minutes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But he never had an issue with it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, like, there's another thing that the club's cleaned up. I think Carstall's
Yeah,
sort
but
of
again, it's
service
like
wasn't the
Castor,
great.
the supplier, the quality, the quality
Yeah,
control, the customer service. It's just Adidas are in the big boys, and you look
yeah,
at the
yeah.
clubs that we're in amongst now that Adidas are the
That
main
elite.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
apparently we are going to be put into that elite group. So it's Man U, Juventus, Bayern Munich, is it?
yeah.
Um,
Arsenal?
Arsenal,
Yeah, Real Madrid.
Real Madrid,
Yeah, I reckon that might have been it. I think there was only
and I
5.
think that's it. And I think that's
We were
it.
the
Yeah.
6th. Not
So
Aston Villa, unfortunately, for
no,
Aston Villa. So,
yeah,
yeah, awesome. Kit looks great. I love the white back. Love the wouldn't mind it to keep the red numbers, but black numbers are fine. But I'm just happy with the white back. And yeah, like I said, I was a bit on the kit, but now I've seen it. Now I'm like, nah, it's awesome. I can't wait to get
yeah.
one. But I'm just gonna have to keep my powder dry because shipping costs an arm and a leg. So I'm gonna have to do an order in bulk.
A bulk
And
bulk
then
order, yeah.
there was a hat I see with New Era as well that's got my name written all over it. So I think I might just have to hold firm, and it's going to be tough. Look, to be honest, I probably don't think I will. I think I'll end up crumbling and buying a shirt before because I reckon the jumper's going to wait too long for us.
Yeah.
So I will probably get the hat and the hat and the shirt, and then have to go back again for the jumper. But oh well, these are the things we do, Mark. We can't help it.
Yeah, I blew $70 on a replica of the maroon and blue stripe one with the
Oh yeah, I
Newcastle
did see
Brownlow
that.
logo
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah,
So whether or not that was like some random Facebook scam and I'm never going to see a shirt
yeah.
or what, but yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed that turns up and at least I'll have that one and I'll get
Well,
myself a new
funny you
home kit.
say that because I brought the 95 kit, the their sort of Les Ferdinand,
Mm,
Festina Respilla kind of kit off. I think it was like a Facebook Marketplace
yeah.
kind of thing, and it was less than $100, and I was adamant. I'd been as soon as I bought it, it was just an impulse ship, and then I bought it. And went, I've been had here. Like I've just torched $100. A week later, it rocked up.
Right. Okay.
I'm like, oh shit, I didn't get scammed. Oh, how good's this? It was even better because
Yeah.
I
I got
thought
an
like,
official receipt, so
yeah,
fingers crossed. Fingers
I
crossed.
have. So yeah, hopefully, I can't wait to see you win it on too.
Yeah. No, that'll be
If
good.
it's all legit, you have to wear it next time you're on, mate.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
But that'll do. Thanks very much, Mark, for
Cheers, mate.
jumping on. Stay tuned if anything James Trafford related drops in the next few days. We'll be online. If anything else drops as well, we'll probably jump on and do a pod about it. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. It's been great having you on, Mark. I'm sure you've enjoyed it too.
Yeah. It's always good to have a ramble about rumors and gossip mills.
Yeah, that's it. But we can celebrate the good stuff as well. You always got
Yes,
to make sure
indeed.
you celebrate the good. All right, guys. Thanks very much. We'll catch you all next time.
Take it easy, mate.